Alrighty, guys, welcome back. Earlier, we were discussing Anthony Joshua and Francis Ngannou, and now we're going to be talking about Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. But before we do that, I just wanted to remind you guys to like and follow the show. Also, we get a number of questions from viewers that come in during the show, so to ensure that your question gets read on the air, I ask that you use the tips and donation link with your question. That link is GSMCPodcast.net. This puts your question at the top of the list so that I can see it, and it also just really helps the show. I'm going to put Tate's business out there since he puts my business out there all the time. Physically got up out of his seat and went and got his snack for the day.
Brother got to eat.
What do we have today? What is...
Okay, this is same thing as before. It's the pastry. It's like phyllo dough with ham and cheese inside. Then they bake it. It's all nice and gooey. The ham is on point. It's all flaky. It just starts flaking off left and right.
I'm jealous.
You got, wait a minute. You got a guy that makes this stuff for a living. He gets paid to make pastry. I don't, it's just...
Right. He gets paid to make pastry. That's his job. Do you think he wants to come home and make more pastry?
This is true. If
he
you're
does
working
it sometimes, but
if you're working at McDonald's and someone says, "Hey, will you make me a Big Mac in the kitchen?" You'd be like, "No, fool."
Yeah.
So I do understand what you're getting at there. Yes. So, okay. All right. So what do you have for me here?
So, the Panthers didn't properly prepare Bryce Young, the quarterback. Didn't stand a chance. The Carolina Panthers didn't create the ideal environment for quarterback Bryce Young to thrive in during his rookie season. Bryce really didn't stand a chance, said a source with direct knowledge of what was going on with the team, according to ESPN's David Newton. After Young was selected with the number 1 overall pick in the 2023 NFL Draft, many expected the former Alabama standout to deliver an exceptional inaugural season. That wasn't the case, as the 22-year-old completed just 59.8% of his throws for 2,877 yards in 16 starts. He also racked up 11 touchdown passes compared to 10 interceptions, while the Panthers finished with the league's worst record of 2-15. While Young's struggles were apparent, it's also fair to question the coaching and personnel around him. Head coach Frank Reich was fired after the Panthers got off to a 1-10 start, while offensive coordinator Thomas Brown wasn't retained by the team after new head coach Dave Cannells was hired once the season concluded. Newton noted that there was a difference in philosophy between Reach, Brown, and offensive line coach James Campen. In fact, the team used a pistol formation in week 1 that wasn't implemented until the week before. This likely affected Young's preparation heading into his first career NFL start. I see you shaking your head. So, what's going on?
Okay. When you go to a dumpster fire, don't be shocked when you get burnt. Just don't be shocked.
Yeah.
The Carolina Panthers, they have ran this, the way this team have been set up and been running the last few years has been an outright dumpster fire. If you're a young quarterback, you need a solid coach, a solid offensive coordinator, a solid quarterbacks coach. You need weapons. They had none of that. Bryce Young was put in a really bad situation where no one could have succeeded. You insert anyone in this year's draft and put them in that same kind of situation, and you're going to struggle. You can't put a team like Carolina doesn't. I mean, poor coaching. To have your coach come in, put in an offense a week or two before the season starts is like, whoa. the whole point of the off season and training camp is to get your young quarterback acclimated to the offense, to his weapons, to everyone around him. And everything I was seeing and hearing is it was such a poorly ran organization, a poorly ran coaching staff. I'm not going to say owner, but the coach ran things so poorly that it really put him in like the absolute worst situation. And here's the dangerous thing about this. They traded up to get the first pick. Now the Bears have their pick, and that's the number one pick they have now. So they're really losing two number one picks because the one they took last year and the one they're going to lose this year. By putting Bryce Young in a situation like that, you can ruin a quarterback at a young age. When a quarterback front comes to the league, confidence is their number one weapon. They have to believe I can do this, I can compete at this level. And when you put them, you set them up to fail. Sometimes quarterbacks never come back from this. I often think about the way Browns did with Tim Couch, or Browns insert a lot of quarterbacks, how they just weren't set up for these guys to win. That's one of the things I love about what Kansas City did with Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, stellar quarterback. But what do? They let him sit behind Alex Smith for a year, let him get acclimated, get his confidence up. Mm-hmm. Patrick Mahomes wasn't this in college, but putting him in the right situation with the right organization, with the proper coaching, and Patrick Mahomes soared. You look at Aaron Rodgers being in Green Bay, sitting behind Brett Favre, gave him the ability to become a much better quarterback. This formula has worked for years, but the formula that rarely works is, hey, you're a dumpster fire organization with dumpster fire talent around you and a dumpster fire at coach. Hey, let's stick this guy in and just throw him out there. He was not put in a good situation. It's a shame. It's a outright shame, because now he has to go with a brand new coach, another season with all that extra pressure. And I don't know if Bryce Young will ever come back from this. And, this is a great example where many other teams in the NFL who are looking at drafting some of these quarterbacks need to protect their quarterbacks. When I look at, like, I wrote down a few. Spencer Rattler, he definitely needs, to go to the right organization. Bo Nix needs to go to the right organization. J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr. These are guys that could be, in my opinion, great starting quarterbacks in the NFL, provided they go to the right place with the right situation. Because if you go to the wrong organization that doesn't know how to develop you, they will develop bad habits or they'll lose their confidence. And next thing you know, these guys are out of the league. It is such a dangerous thing you have to have the right person. That's one of the reasons why, like, when with the Bears and what their plans are, I thought the Bears should just start over fresh, brand new coaching staff, everything. And if you're going to bring in a quarterback, then match the coach, the general manager, and your starting quarterback so that they're all lockstep of the same goal. Now, and the Bears kind of have a weird situation there where they kept their coach. Well, in Carolina, now they have a brand new coach who's coming in, and it's like, hey, I didn't draft this guy. I didn't want this guy. This guy just got put on my lap. It's kind of like Russell Wilson with Sean Payton. Sean Payton is like, I didn't give him that money. I didn't go out and get him. He's not my guy. I want to bring in my guy. So he didn't really put Russell Wilson in a place so he could succeed. I'm definitely very concerned for Bryce Young because I think he's an incredibly talented quarterback that may have just ran into the absolute worst possible place to go.
Mm. So you don't think it's has anything to do with his skill set. You think it's how the team has been set up.
Yes, I think Bryce Young is incredibly talented. He's small,
Mm-hmm.
but we have shown that there are Tua in Miami, um, the quarterback in Carolina, not Carolina, but in at the Cardinals. These are small quarterbacks who've shown that they can play in the NFL. It just comes down to, do you have the right coach to put you in the right situation? That's the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think no one was set up worse than Bryce Young this year. That was a horrible place for him to go, in my opinion, from the jump. Soon I saw that the trade, I was to trade up for him. I'm like, oh boy, it's gonna be some rough years. I kind of feel that way with Caleb Williams right now, where you know you look at the Bears, and before I start this, we had a guest, not a guest, but a comment
Mm-hmm.
on our account about the Bears, and he agreed with me that the Bears should trade both of those picks back. And I definitely think they should because what they need is more protection and weapons, and then go get your quarterback. The Bears, when you look at the Bears, by putting yourself in a situation where you trade out of that number one pick, but you get a you get a boatload of picks for that one. You
Mm-hmm.
trade out of that number nine pick, you get a nice haul for those. You slide back in the first round, you get your quarterback, but then you got a lot of weapons to set your quarterback up for the future. Get him a receiver, get him some blocking, get him a running game, put the weapons around him. You can do that just by trading back. And you could set the Chicago Bears up for years to come. Where I look at the Carolina Panthers, their quarterback is going to have an uphill battle from this point on because they don't have a lot of weapons. They can't get the haul of picks that the Bears can pick as well. So whoever, if the Bears did this and traded back, I think they could set up a guy for years to come. So that was just my take there.
Yeah. It's crazy to see like what an organization can like do to like their
Oh
players and
yes,
how it affects things. Like if there's bad coaching
you can
or
ruin a player.
yeah. Yeah, I mean cuz he was number 1 overall pick last year and now he's not doing too hot.
Imagine your dream was to get to the NFL
Mhm.
and you were this great quarterback in college. You're feeling confident, and then you go to a play organization that's not giving you the tools to be successful.
Mhm.
And you're not, they're putting in offenses a week or two before the season starts that you're not even, you're trying, the speed of the NFL is so much different than college football. That's the number one thing. So your goal as a coach is to, and there's a lot more information to get acclimated to. So you have to get acclimated to the speed of the game, and that could take anywhere from 3 or 4 games to a couple of years, just the
Mhm.
speed of the game. Then how complex the offense is. That's another part of the game that takes you a while. And sometimes when you see an NFL playbook, it is crazy. I don't understand how anyone could handle doing an NFL playbook, but trying to remember what read goes where, the quarterback has to know every aspect of the offense.
Mhm.
And then to have a situation where you're getting dumped in a brand new offense, which you should have had months ago. You should have been looking at that. When you walked across stage and shook the owner's hand and you put on your cap on your draft day that you were going to the Carolina Panthers, day two should have been, hey, we're excited to have you in here. We're gonna have some people that's gonna get the playbook to you, start getting you worked up on here. We're gonna not, hey, we're gonna go to the 2 weeks before the season starts. Let's go to the pistol offense. That's crazy. That's a move that a desperate team is doing. And it's a sin.
Hmm.
So,
Do you think Bryce Young will be able to come back for this, or are you?
because I'm worried, no. And that's way too early to write him off. He's a great
Right.
guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean it as an insult to him by saying no. I'm a little concerned that maybe he will not be able to, is because when I look at Carolina and what they did last year, and I look at Carolina and what they're planning on doing this year, there still doesn't look like there's a plan.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to get things in place. Get him some weapons. Get him some protection and weapons. More than anything, you're going to be bad. Carolina Panthers are going to be bad this year anyway. But get him the weapons he needs. Get that the blocking, the receivers, the running game. Put all your efforts into making him comfortable. That should be the Carolina Panthers' number one goal. I just don't know if they're going to do it. So,
Well, you kind of feel bad for him.
he's a great guy.
Yeah.
I just think he just went to a great guy that went to a bad situation. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
And sorry for you Carolina fans if you don't like what I've said about you guys, but sorry. Love Carolina. Right now, hate the team. hate the, love Carolina, hate the team right now. Would love to see you guys do better, but unfortunately, I don't see you guys getting any better anytime soon. And if you miss on your quarterback, if you don't get him the weapons, and if you've missed on Bryce Young, you set your team back almost a decade.
Yeah.
And that's something that's hard to come back from.
Well, sorry, Carolina.
I hope I'm wrong. I truly hope I'm wrong because I would love to see him do well, but it don't look good.
Well, guys, with that, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to be discussing the college football playoff format and future revenue. So stick around. We'll see you in a second.